click, buy, deliver. With remote purchasing from the 2-time Motorcycle News Dealer of the Year, Colchester Kawasaki. Proud sponsors of Chasing the Racing.
3, 2, 1, and welcome back to Chasing the Racing, episode 107. And we're delighted to be joined by Alan Gardner, the team owner for OMG Rich Energy. So welcome to the podcast. How are we doing?
I'm doing very well. I'm just disappointed it's taken 107 episodes to get me on.
There we are. And I tell you what, I'm over the moon that you cocked up the first intro there, because you definitely put him in a calmer spot, because you just got out your... What car have you been track daying on? Not only have you been at work today, you've had a bit of time to relax. What have you been up to?
Paul and myself, Paul, team principal for the team. We had a little play in the cars.
Playing the car? What lap times then? This is the best thing about us competitive natured folk. We get straight into the lap time crack, don't we?
See, I didn't have a GPS lap timer on my phone, whereas Paul did. Paul's quicker than me anyway, so that's just a given. I don't mind that. But Paul did a 1:16.4.
Just to give some context, so we were at Donington National. It's been the BSB test today, and the sort of fastest superstock lads the fastest superbike times is like a 1:06. So it's like 10 seconds off superbike. But for example, a club race, it's comparable. It's a comparable lap time.
Yeah, it's good.
And like if you think, it's.
I mean, I can give you the lap record considering we have the lap record if you want. So.
Is that Barbara?
Yeah, Hector last year was 1:06.251. Which is
in qualifying the
qualifying a little bit. 1:05.7 he got.
Yeah, 1:05. Jason Allen was on pole. Barbara was second, I think, on the grid here last year. But 1:05's around here.
Yeah, Jason got a 1:05.7 today.
Did he?
Yeah.
Wow, that is literally incredible.
It's almost like I pay attention, isn't it?
You could do it on a team, so there we are, straight off the bat.
I don't do anything else. I just watch things. So
Fantastic. Well, I'm really looking forward to sort of getting to know you a little bit today, and because obviously you just appeared in the paddock, and it was just a massive presence straight away in terms of like
He's calling me fat, isn't he? He's calling me fat.
It's more than just a team. It was like a OMG family, and in terms of like you helping and supporting so many people, not just in BSB, even just like right the way through from the youngsters, club race and the lot, and obviously your involvement then with Rich Energy and all kinds. So I guess from the first thing I kind of want to know is what was the route to suddenly appearing in BSB? Were you into bikes for a long time beforehand?
Oh God, I suppose I had my first bike. It's giving my age away now, isn't it?
Just spit it out.
Over 40 years ago, I had my first bike. And through my life, then had bikes, didn't have bikes. It was just road bikes, never track stuff. And the OMG came about from myself and one of my friends used to sponsor Ben Luxton when he was junior super sport pro, and then went into stock 6.
What year was this in?
To 2006 and 2017.
Right.
So at the end of 2017, I hadn't managed to get to a round all year, and he's like one of those, it's Brands Hatch now. It's the last round is you've thrown whatever amount of money it was to him. And it's like, well, that's how much it's going to cost me to go and watch one race now. So I've got to go down at least and see him. And you end up with one of those drunken sort of conversations with myself and 2 of my friends. And it was actually my fault, I believe, with that stupid statement of, we can do it better than this. It's meant to be drunk. You're meant to stay drunk and then never talk about it again the next day, are you? So, but it carried on. So
back of a napkin, a full.
It was, Oh God, we were absolutely fucked by it. But
good lad.
But it was, the conversation carried on. So it was like, okay, well, let's do it. And we spoke about doing stock 1,000 and bringing Ben up into stock 1,000. Then spoke to Paul Curran, who's our team principal, been the team principal from day one. My business partner at the time, Greg, who was the M in OMG. There were 3 of us originally. There's just me now.
That I was about to ask, where did the combination of letters come into play at this situation? Okay. So there's the answer. Okay,
Oscroft, McPhail and Gardner. They're our initials. We could have been Mog Racing or GOM or,
GOM.
OMG just seemed a little bit more appropriate, really. But
totally agree.
So, but Greg used to sponsor when Paul was racing. Used to sponsor Paul, and Greg rides a lot. Excuse me. And Paul would look after and build Greg's bikes for him. So Paul was the natural one for us to talk to, as in we want to start a race team. We don't know fuck all about it. What do we do? We just had a passion for the sport and had a fear that the sport was dying. That I'm an old man now, and the audience are my age, and you got to get younger people into it, or another 10, 20 years there'll be nobody doing anything. Nobody watching, and if nobody's watching, nobody's racing.
Do you know what we've talked about this a few times about the sort of aging population of the crowd of BSB, and it's funny. So now and again, I'll bump into someone that's like say 22, 23, and they're like a new BSB fan, not because of the pet, they've like discovered it themselves, and it's such a like nice feeling to see like because there's not many of them coming, like not many.
Well, the
people
excitement
like
on
that.
the face when they see, and it's seeing the speed, but it's hearing and feeling the noise. It sort of gets into your bones. And
because not only in the BSB paddock, like you were talking about, you're going from the ground up over here. You're heavily involved with the British mini bike series as well. So and what age is that from start?
7.
Do we know?
I think they start at 7.
7-year-old straight on a bike. That is phenomenal.
But again, we want to do more over time, and since we've got involved with Rich, it's the Rich side of the company that sponsor British mini bikes.
Right.
But as the more product sales that we can do, the more income that we've got, the more money we can put towards them. It's motorbikes and cars, they're the same. They've become a money sport, and if you haven't got the money, you're not racing, and we're missing out on talent. We're missing out on the next Marquez or Rossi or Simoncelli. There's somebody out there that, because they're a grand short this year, we lose them to the sport.
Wow.
So it's true, though, isn't it?
100% true.
And you think it's for a fucking grand. And for a grand, we've got somebody that the whole world will adore. And we're missing that because we're not helping a 7-year-old now. And you go to Spain and Italy, when you must have been at the Cartagena, so you've got like the little test track there, and you've got 5 and 6-year-old kids doing figure of eights with a knee scraping all over, and you're like, that's why they're the best in the world. That's why MotoGP is dominated by Spaniards and Italians, because they're going to ride him when they're 5, and we don't.
So is your vision for OMG to try and help in terms of the UK bring more?
I don't mean just us, but because we can't do it all. But if we can start, hopefully other people will look at it and go, well, we'll throw a little bit into that, and we'll throw a little bit into that, and we'll throw a little bit into that. A lot of things that we do with the younger people, because obviously Rich is an energy drink, and you have to be over 16 to buy it and consume and all that sort of stuff. Albeit it is, Rich does sponsor mini bikes. We then also sponsor one of the championships in mini bikes as OMG. The thing with OMG is that we're only a race team, so we don't make a product, we don't sell a service, we don't. So there's no financial gain.
Yes.
For us doing that, so it's purely to get the kids racing. So it'd be nice that if it's all that, when the older you get, you two are just young fucking things. But the older you get, you can look at things and go, I've done okay. I can help a little bit, and if we can encourage other people to help a little bit as well, and then they can encourage people to help a little bit, then
get the ball rolling.
The sport improves.
And another thing with just the motorsport in general, a few decades ago, it was basically all fueled by tobacco, and the energy drinks now is kind of the new tobacco in motorsport.
Well, I don't know about that.
in terms of sponsors,
less steps.
You look
in financial terms,
yeah,
absolutely.
Like in terms of
Jesus Christ.
in terms of branding.
What are you trying to do? Rich Energy. What are you trying to do to it?
in terms of branding,
yeah.
You look at all of motorsport.
I'll just have another drag of that, shall I? Yeah.
Yes. Oh, and I must say thanks also for the delivery of the sugar-free. I've been after the sugar-free cans for a while. As soon as I seen them advertised, and a while ago, me and Dom do like diets in different parts of the year, and I was doing my best to try and keep sugar out my diet.
I try and do a diet all year, and I fail after like 3 days, and I just end up saying,
it's ridiculous. And do you know what? With sugar-free drinks, there's something like, for example, with Coke, I can't actually drink full-fat Coke because it's not the taste. It's like a thing on my teeth. I just don't like it. So I'm a Diet Coke man. But say with Red Bull, I can't drink the sugar-free one. I don't know. I don't know who they are. But
there's a nerve there.
Yeah. So like I would only drink the sugar version. Where with this, I would definitely choose a little bit like Diet Coke. I actually prefer the like. The thing is,
I mean, we obviously I'm going to be biased, but at the end of the day, we got involved with Rich because it's a good product.
Yeah.
And there's no sort of, you get a sort of chemically aftertaste with a lot of competitors.
Yes.
And we don't with that. And that's, it's my opinion. You know, the more people try it, hopefully the more people have the same opinion as well. So,
as you can probably tell from my hyperactivity, I'm a bit of a connoisseur of the energy drink, and me, I've got high
I thought it was just because you were a fucking loan dump, to be swear.
There is that, you
Can
know,
I
combination.
smoke? You said I could smoke. Apparently no one's ever done this before.
First time first.
Thank you very much.
Smoking away.
I have another can of Rich that has now been drunk and it's now my ashtray. Thank you very much.
Happy days. So here's a question while you're lighting up there, my man. So how did the combination of OMG and Rich Energy actually start? Like, were you in a pub somewhere and you thought, hey, what's going on?
Oh god, that's quite a long story. I know you've had William on in the past. Well, when we first started OMG, I was then not long after that. In fact, actually before, I think I was introduced to William by a mutual friend of ours, and we spoke about sponsorship for our first year that Rich would come on and sponsor us, and for whatever reason it didn't happen. And then year two, there were promises, year two, we'll sponsor you, blah, blah, blah. And then our second year, it's like they sponsor Haas in Formula One. You're like, for fuck's sake, you're going to sponsor us.
You've been promising us.
Yeah, well, okay, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, that's history now. Everybody knows the sort of hassles that went on. There's a lot more, I think, that went on than people realise, but that's for the people that were involved at the time to know, and it's not, you know, if they don't want it public, then, you know, we leave it as it is.
Yes.
But then it transpired after that, we started speaking to William again about sponsorship, and we struck a deal basically at the start of last year. It's then been a tough year. It was sort of 2 weeks before the COVID pandemic hit. We do this deal with Rich, and it's like, all of a sudden every pub, club, restaurant, bar, hotel is closed. You know, supermarkets are going down. They're not listing new products because they're just doing a shorter thing. You know, people like Tesco's are delisting 5,000 items, and you think, for God's sake, we just got involved in this drink, and now there's no outlet for it. So the whole of last year was a tough year for the brand for Rich, because the marketplace shrank massively.
Yeah.
I think energy drinks globally were down something like 85%.
And that's across all firms.
Yeah. Because you know, most of your Red Bull's our biggest competitor. We're a direct flavour comparison. We like to. If you think there used to be the Coke and Pepsi challenge sort of thing,
yes,
we're identical ingredients to Red Bull, absolutely identical, slightly different recipe. Well, Coke and Pepsi Cola are identical ingredients, slightly different recipe, gives you a different flavour.
Yeah,
but they're very similar. They're still colas.
Yeah.
We're still an energy drink, so we're very similar. But yeah, the bulk of that is, you may know about things like vodka and energy drink.
Oh yes.
Yeah, exactly. So I've been on nights.
I'm not a
with
mess.
you like that, Dom. Well, that's the thing. So when all the
nightclub's shut,
everything's shut, then sales go through the floor. You know, and for the established energy drinks, they were towards the end of the year having to dump stock and reduce the price of stock because the shelf lives are going out of date, because they've got it in there, nobody's buying it. It's all been made on, you know, they know the volumes that they need to produce. So it was a tough year for everybody, tougher for us because we were trying to get into the market. Now things are starting to open up, so things are starting to happen.
Okay, this is stupid. Obviously, I'm not in that sort of the business world, but with that back, that back step. So, with that back step, is this potentially a new opportunity? Because, things are reopening, there's a blank canvas situation.
Well, we hope so.
Yeah.
We hope so. I mean, obviously, our role as the race team is to promote the drink.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We're a mobile billboard for our sponsor, in the same as everybody else. When the tobacco companies were on, Ferrari, there's a very famous tobacco company was on there. They were a mobile billboard. It's brand awareness.
Mm-hmm.
You're never going to sell a drink on the back. You're never going to sell a pack of cigarettes. Oh, I saw a woman at Ferrari. I'm going to go and buy like a Marlboro. It doesn't work like that. But it gets into your head and that sort of stuff. So it is brand awareness. So I hope so. A lot of companies, a lot of bars and things we have jets flying over. It is Donington. A lot of bars are restructuring how they work. They've had very, very tough times, and where the government have done a lot of good for working people, PAYE people, they haven't done a lot at all for the self-employed.
Yes.
So And so the guys that own bars, own wine bars, own clubs, own pubs, they've had it really tough. Their staff haven't potentially had it quite as bad. 80% paid sit at home.
Yeah, furlough straight off the bat. Yeah,
I'd have loved it, but we don't get that, do we? But they're looking at we can do a better margin for them than they get from Red Bull. So and we think we're a better drink. So,
oh, looking forward to that.
Another sort of kick in the balls this year was you brought in pretty much the biggest and the best hospitality unit that in the British Superbike paddock. The first year that spectators weren't allowed.
It looked fucking great though, didn't it?
Obviously, it did, and obviously with spectators returning this year, hopefully that'll be such a brilliant thing for not only the team but in terms of the sponsorship, and obviously like if you can get. It's a massive incentive for pubs and clubs to be stocking thing if they can then bring staff and bring clients to the BSB race meeting and like I said the best.
Which again will hopefully get more people into racing, because when you must have people that you've known whether through your life and you've got involved with a family or something like that, come and see what I do for a living sort of thing, and they come and they go, oh my God, I didn't realise it was
it doesn't matter who you are, you could not fail to be impressed by turning up at that.
Hope not.
The rich club.
Yeah, and seeing the like you said before, the speed, the noise, everything about bike racing, it's exciting. There's a buzz in the air, and then to come and have a nice day in hospitality, it is mega. Like, what's the score with that? Is that like a full week to build or something?
It's 2 days to build and a day to take down. Yeah.
How many staff to build that?
5
Jesus
guys,
Christ.
2 days to build it.
I tell you what though, when you're talking about the swift kick and the nuts there, I generally thought you're going to go down another route, so I'm going to go for the other nut and hit it straight in there.
What have I done now?
No, you haven't done anything.
Okay.
The fact that you and me should not even be here. This is TT week.
I know.
And this is the big OMG first time in the international.
This would have been our second year. We were meant to do it last year.
Of course it was.
This is the second fucking cancellation.
So you've been kicked 3 times in the nuts.
And the thing is, this will make you laugh now. So we decided to do the TT in December 19. So we were going to do the TT last year, 2020. And obviously, yourself, so TT teams, you go over and you book houses, you rent houses for the team to stay in there. But they're all booked up in June. Whoever did, when people did the TT in 2018, the house they left, they go, yep, we'll have it next time. Great, thanks. And they're sorted. So we're 6 months behind. We're 6 months behind any prep anyway. So, it's a tough challenge to get ready. And then it's like, where the fucking are we going to sleep? You know what I mean? So we've ended up, we're going to have to take fifth wheels and motorhomes. So whereas most teams, I think, take 1 truck to the TT, you'll know better than me. You've done it not more than we were taking 11.
Jesus,
we were going to build a village. So we got the 2 race trucks, we got fifth wheels, we got motorhomes, we got vans, we had the hospitality unit was going to go, and you're like,
so are you taking the rich club?
Yeah.
That's mint, because obviously over there's another swear word, Monster Energy, but the Monster Energy TD. So they have the big.
Who are they?
You're a nightmare, man. You're a nightmare. So they're set up over there. I tell you what, that would be brilliant.
I've still got wristbands from 2018. So if you need anything for the party next year, I've got them, mate.
Good lad. That is good to know, because they are some good parties. But I tell you what would be mint. It'll be like the left Twix and the right Twix kind of thing, won't it? You'll have rich energy on that side of the paddock and Monster Energy over there.
We'll just have to throw a better party, won't we?
They are. I tell you what about, imagine this, the Rich Energy TT. They've got the Monster Energy at hey.
I mean, we sponsor Oliver's Mount now.
Of course you do, aye.
See, so we do that, and we sponsor in World Superbikes. We sponsor Alvaro. We sponsor in British Touring Cars. We've just done a deal now with the Jockey Club, where we're the official drink of the Jockey Club now. So we're sponsoring Newmarket, and you have all sorts of rich classic races and this, that, the other. And
what's the score with promotional ladies? Have you had any thoughts down that route, or
skin tight leather pants?
I know. I think I know where you're coming from.
I can't say leather pants without putting my hands up, symbolically showing you what I mean.
Is there any plans? Any plans for anything like that?
Tight pants.
To be honest, no. It's if I go back to when we started OMG, myself, Chris, and Greg, we've all got daughters, and it was all.
There goes that bubble pop.
There we are. However, I mean, we all like to, we all like to look, don't we? So, I don't know. It is one of them. I don't know.
Yeah, we might
I could get you in leather shorts or something like that, couldn't I?
Yeah,
I think you'd look good.
I'm never drinking the can again if you ever do that. That's what I put him in little shirt.
Now, again,
You'll love the photos, though. You know you would.
Another thing, turning up into BSB, it's a very competitive environment, and there's like loads of big teams, factories, massive sponsorship. And in your first or second year, you got a race win straight away.
First round of the second year, 13th.
Yeah.
13th race weekend.
13th race weekend, you won a British Superbike race, which is, if there's teams out there that have been going.
We were the 9th team in the history of the championship to win a race. Believe it or not.
There you go.
The 9th team. Uh-huh. Everybody else always wins.
That's a hell of a.
So you've got Paul Bird and you've got McCann. These are your traditional winners. They win. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit like Lewis Hamilton in Formula One. He win. It's all that. So yeah, we were the 9th team ever to win, and only the 3rd independent team ever to win a BSB.
I bet that was
25 years.
Hell of a feeling that
weekend.
Yeah.
So what race was that? Was that the Josh Elliott Silver?
Yeah.
Right.
It was. No, if I'm brutally honest, so I have to do my right, because I don't want to take anything away from Josh in any stretch, because he won a BSB race, which is fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
So Taz took out O'Halloran on the final corner, and if he hadn't done that, Josh would have come 3rd. Mm-hmm. So
he did come 2nd the next day, found.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, but what I'm saying from my point of view, I want us to win when every other team's at their best, because then we've really won. Mm-hmm. And so Taz went across the line first. Josh came across the line second, but he got a 3-second penalty, and we were 2.76 behind him or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm fairly certain that if we were 4.9 behind him, he'd have got a 5-second penalty. Mm-hmm. It was a punishment. So I want us to win
over the line.
Yeah, properly. Mm-hmm. Over the line with nobody being taken out in the race. Mm-hmm. Everybody's doing well. Everybody's doing the best, and we've beat them.
Yeah.
That's a real win. And so that's what I want.
And obviously with Josh came back for, I think he did one round in 2020, like a stand-in round in Superstock. But it's going from, that season he won at the first round.
No, he didn't.
What's that?
I don't think he did.
He rode for JR Motorsport, the same team.
Oh, right. I thought you meant for me.
No.
No.
He did a stand.
No, he didn't.
Can I confirm this?
What do you think happened there in terms of, you went from a race winner to being pretty much out of the sport? What's your take? Like, why do you think?
Which is a shame, because Josh is a really, really good rider. He's got so much raw talent.
You don't win a race.
No, of course you don't.
Super.
You don't, and then the following day or the following race comes second. Mm-hmm. For me, the second was more genuine than the win, because everybody was on the circuit.
Yes,
you know what I mean.
Yes.
So, and you don't come second easily in BSB. You don't come in the top 10 easily in BSB. Nobody does. I don't know. That's the problem, and that's kind of why I don't know whether it's form. You don't call it form. We don't, do we? But it's form, because he's got class. You don't win without some form of class, and you never lose that. But I suppose you've got to be able to find it in yourself. Mm-hmm. And there was a time, I think, during that period where he couldn't find it, and which is a real shame, because he's a nice guy. He's come from a racing family. Jules, his dad, was quick, not as quick as Josh. Sorry, Jules, but you weren't. But so he should be on a bike. Mm-hmm. He should be on a bike.
It's a proper tough, unforgiving sport. This isn't it? And like sometimes like when you look at crashes, for example, the punishment doesn't fit the crime. Sometimes.
Well, exactly, it doesn't, and it's also people's head can go after a crash, and it's like it was a crash, But there's lots of things happening in sport. Someone can have a crash and they've hurt themselves, so they'll either get quicker because they're more determined, or they'll slow up. People have kids, and they're either going to get quicker because they've got to provide for the kids, or they get slower because they're worried that something might happen, and I've got kids, Mm-hmm. So everybody's head's different, and he's just got to get it back, and he probably has, but someone's got to give him a ride.
Another cool thing that you did. Can you remember that time in Thuxton where the lads they were all colour coordinated with suits with the ties?
No, that was at Monte Blanco. Oh, Monte Blanco in testing. Yeah.
Have you seen that?
I've not seen.
Did you not see it?
I'll get a picture. This goes on YouTube, so I'll get a picture and I'll put it on the YouTube. But
we did like a Reservoir Dogs. We had them all in black suits, and this is when we did the individual colours for the bike. So Josh was on a pink bike, Luke was on a blue bike, and Billy was yellow, because because obviously on stock, we at the time on Suzuki we had to have a yellow number.
So we did different colour bike.
We did different colour bike, but we did them all in black suits. We did. Oh God, it was funny because so they all had ties to match the colour that they're on the bike. But we're doing this in the paddock at Monte Blanco, and every other fucking team's up in the canteen, up in the top, and they're all banging on the window. We're trying to film this fucking thing, like, lads, give us a break, So, but yeah, it was good.
So what originally made you go down the Suzuki route then? When you first kicked off with OMG?
That's Paul's fault.
Paul's fault?
Yeah.
Straight off the bat.
Paul was a Suzuki man. Paul and Greg were Suzuki men. And we dealt with Brad Clark. Brad Clark's Power Slide motorcycles. I'll get his little, there you go, Brad, you owe me a drink or something like that. European GSXR 1000 dealer of the year for the last 3 years, Ronnie. There you go.
Nice, 2 pints now.
But I'm not talking pints, they've got to be bottles of vodka. I've got to put Rich with them.
Never switches off.
Never switches off. But the bike was quick. It was a good bike. I mean, well, there you go. We won with Suzuki, so you can't say it wasn't quick. Obviously, in our first year, Brad Ray did a double at Donington for our opening round on Suzuki, so it was a good choice.
Yeah.
We were looking for. Obviously, we're not a factory team; we're an independent team. So factory teams get different support to independent teams.
You see what I love about the paddock though is there becomes a point where a team switches over from that privateer section to factory. Yes, I know definition you need factory support to be a factory, but when the world looks at your team, it is that well turned out, it is that well presented. The word factory comes to mind. It's great.
We try and do everything the right way.
Yes.
All the equipment's right, the bike's right. There's nothing shabby anywhere.
No,
everything is
not at all.
done the right way. There are people on track, and it's down to you got the whole team to get 2 super bikes and 1 stock bike out there, and you got to do it safely. So everything has got to be right. Everything's got to be done right, and we've been trying to look good doing it.
And obviously you've switched to BMWs, and
Yep.
they look brilliant in the livery.
Thank you.
Do you know that it was when we were down in London for that show when you brought the bike, and that was the first time the livery was out.
That was the first time I met Dom Herbert
in the pub, in the
That
bar.
was
I got him fucking drunk.
No, I'll tell you what made me laugh though was the fact that you had James Hillier turned up, and I've never seen James Hillier on a night out. You know what I mean? What a genuine lovely guy. And there's Alan. They've got like a roll of toothpicks, and they're trying to get James Hillier going right. What you want to do? What you want to do, son? Right? Just try and get that toothpick. Oh, you'll have to send that to us. We'll put it on. Brilliant. And what he was trying to do was get this toothpick to stand alone in your forehead. And there's James, right? James Hillier, TT winner, multiple podium finisher, genuine hardcore badass fucker, right? And he could not do. He was taut and running. He was like, just no.
He hadn't got the bottle to stab himself in the forehead with a toothpick.
Not a bleeding hope. So there's a rallying straight off the bat, no problem at all. So anyway, I turned.
John McGuinness do it.
How did he get on with it? Did he do it?
I've got a video of it. I'll send you.
Did he actually land it though?
First stab.
He was
in. Yeah.
So there's me.
That's hardcore.
Now, bear in mind, I had no idea who these chaps were whatsoever. Straight in, Billy Dickhead here. Straight in, like, oh, what's going on here? Gone, give that a go. I literally grabbed a handful, didn't I, of toothpicks and just went, bang! Like there must have been 6 hanging off my face.
That doesn't surprise us at all.
Who was going to buy us a pint?
No,
Yolden, you were there. Your dad was on the drink and all sorts.
Were you there?
Yeah, I did.
You're just a quiet boy
in the background.
Well, that's what it is.
That's it.
So, why did we talk to him? What's going on?
Yeah, get out.
Back to the bikes, and I wanted to ask
about. Oh yeah, let's go.
As you run in super stock and in super bikes, it's kind of like the perfect opportunity to. We sometimes get questions from like on the social media and whatever about the differences between stock and whatever. As a team owner who runs in super stock and super bike, roughly in terms of when you put the order in for a build price. In terms of the difference between the price of a super stock bike ready to go and super bike fully ready to go, roughly what sort of budgets are you looking at just for the bikes?
And a blind stab in the dark figure.
I could probably do it to the penny, but it depends how you're asking, because obviously we have permanent staff, so we don't put I don't allocate hours of staff wages to building the bike.
You're right.
But to give you an example, so this year's BMW is, I think it's €32,000 for the road bike.
The M one.
For the M,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So there's nothing on it, just the road bike.
That's the road bike. Indicators, lights, number plate, blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
That's a considerable hike from last year. Last year we were 17 grand. So it's quite a hike. Yeah, I know. Oh, shit.
For some wings.
Yeah. But there's a lot more power. Have you ridden?
No, not then.
Because
Yeah.
you were
rode them
BMW last year.
Yeah.
You won the championship on a BMW and you switch. I'm not saying anything. But anyway, so there's more power. It delivers the power in a different way. Then there's all sorts of trick bits with the your carbon wheels and that, which are far from cheap, I can assure you.
Are you racing carbon wheels?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we have to.
Really?
Why is that?
'Cause it comes on the M spec. It's stock trim, so we have to. So
I thought
and then when you go out and you're going to buy 10 sets of them because
Do I get a discount
you
for
need 10
multi-bikes?
sets of them, and you get this bill that you think I could buy a fucking bike like that. It's sort of horrible, really. But
I bet it's still nice to unwrap though, like 10
Yeah.
sets of cotton. I'm like, ooh, Gucci. Oh.
and it's like, is that a wheel? The weight of the thing, it's so light, it's ridiculous. But yeah, it's and then obviously yourself that there's so little you can do with a stock bike realistically, but it's stock. It's meant to be. So you take the indicators off, take the lights off, put different fairings on, change the exhaust,
suspension.
We've got more suspension changes that we can do as of now. So we've got new fork internals that Billy's been out on today. It was the first time we've used them. So
if we were say rounded a super stock bike at around about 40,000, is that sound about
40,
right?
45, all the
45,000.
Yeah.
So same sort of idea. So no labour, etc., but into a super bike roughly.
Well, then you've got your add-on parts, haven't you? So, you're sort of 7 grand for a swing arm and 7 grand for brake calipers and 15 grand for forks and 3 grand for a fuel tank and 3 grand for fairings and what do you know what I mean? And an extra 20 grand on the engine and so you can bounce depending how far you want to go, anywhere between sort of 80 and 140 grand depending how far you want to go.
It's a hell of a lot, but it's that thing of
Just got warmer in here.
and for that you get a second.
Yeah, I was just about to say, but then to go another second, you'd probably have to spend £1 million. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. You're going down towards MotoGP sort of levels then, aren't you? Because at the end of the day we're
the law of diminishing returns.
Yeah, we've got. You see, a math teacher for you. There he
That
goes.
was smooth. That
He's
one.
start
That
talking
was smooth
probability and all
delivery.
sorts
That.
of shit. Then
We're from the tree industry, Chrissy. You're gonna have to speak.
no. I can match him on math. I'm quite good with math.
I'm terrible.
I'm not terrible at all, which is really bad. It's really boring. Sorry, mate, but sorry, my phone's buzzing. Yeah, it's you compare it. There's 3 main championships in the world, aren't there? So you got BSB, which is the finest and greatest domestic championship in the world. You got World Superbikes and you got MotoGP. World Superbikes, yourself, they're the same as we are, except they get toys. They have traction control and anti-wheeling. Well, with all due respect, you know what I mean. You go on a superbike. That's your traction control, isn't it? Is your right hand, and your anti-wheelie is your rear brake. I think it's harder to ride, and it's been proven by a number of World Superbike guys that have come over doing that, and then they can't. You get then exceptions to the rule. You get your Scott Reddings that have excelled and then gone back to Worlds and gone, fucking hell, look how well he's doing. He's a fantastic rider. But there's a lot of guys that can't ride in BSB.
The can't fight.
That can ride in Worlds. Then you get a MotoGP. The levels that, you got a £1 million bike. And, you can open the throttle full whack in the middle of a corner and it won't spit you off.
Bloody hell.
More often than not, yourself. And you think, geez, but I'd rather have it raw. I'd rather have it that it's the talent of the rider. That's what we want. We want the best riders in the world.
And speaking of talent, you've got a great lineup this year, especially.
Yeah, I think so.
You've got a chance to win sort of 2 championships, really, having your super stock and
it would be nice.
Especially
cost me a fortune, but it would be nice.
Yeah, especially Kyle's been looking tremendous in testing.
Kyle's
so
doing
far.
really well.
He's a good pick for your lineup this year. Yeah. Did you have your eye on Kyle for a while, or how did that sort of come about?
Yeah, it's just he's got so much natural talent. Again, it's that he is. Talent's the key because all the other things can be you can help the guys with. You can never teach talent. You know that. You just won a championship. 99% of that is talent, and 1% is you applying it correctly.
I would disagree, but I felt that's your opinion.
Okay, well, without the talent, you wouldn't win.
Well, what would you say talent is? Like, what just...
In a lot of it is...
Natural ability?
Well, no, because there's nothing natural about riding a bike. But it's how you... I think how you can process the speed that things are happening, how you can have confidence in that your front's not going to tuck, how you can have... And that... So...
Courage?
See, I don't know whether it's brave or not. I think half the time it's fucking stupid, let's be honest. But I followed Paul round Cartagena. We were both on stock bikes. And I don't ride a lot. I'm an old man now and all this sort of stuff. But for me, I just did the logical approach of Paul's on an identical bike to me. If he can go that quick around that corner, my bike, I might not be able to. But that's my talent. But the bike can. Mm-hmm. Because the one in front of me, he's doing exactly the same speed as I am, because I'm keeping the gap is the same. So it's only whether I can bank it over or not, and that's my talent.
The thing that, like, for example, do you know if someone said, if people feel like they're limited by talent, as in that's just how good they are, to me that sort of takes away a lot of the aspirations. I personally think, no, like, for example, when my first sort of year race, and I was like right at the back of
You've done the maths thing here, right? I shouldn't have said 99%.
No,
I shouldn't have said 99%. Keep it going. That's where he's going.
I think if people believe that they're just naturally unable to do it, then it sort of sort of limits them.
Everybody can learn to do something better. Mm-hmm. Learning to do something better is fine, but I could go and get coaching off Valentino Rossi or Marc Marquez, and I won't be as quick as you. Because you got way more talent than I have. Because no matter how much coaching I get, it's not, because if it was only a matter of coaching, Jesus Christ, life would be a piece of piss, wouldn't it? Yeah. Because you're just going to get a coach.
There's a hell of a lot that goes into it, isn't there? Like,
of course there is. But you've got to have a natural aptitude, which is why you go and look at kids, and then when one of the kids is doing well, you spot them on talent. You don't spot them necessarily on speed, because at that level, you could have you can have a 10-year-old that is half the way to the next 10-year-old. The heavier guy's never going to be, you're on a little 11 horsepower thing, but you can see that he can ride. He's just got that.
He's got the bite. He's got the bit between his teeth.
Because obviously, you personally, and as the sort of involvement with Rich, etc., sponsor a lot of younger kids and people coming through the ranks.
I'd love to do more, but we've got to be able to afford it.
Do you know? Obviously, there's like a paddock of kids. Do you choose people that you believe have got the potential to make it, or for people's attitude, or what do you sort of how do you pick a rider? Yeah, what makes you sponsor them and not them?
Well, as individual riders, we don't sponsor as many as I'd like to at the moment. Okay. I'd like to do more. Some of it, I sponsor Chloe Jones in Junior Supersport. We've sponsored her now for, I've done 2 years or 1 year.
Be 2.
Is it 2?
I think it's 2.
Okay.
I think it's 2. Oh.
Well, this year we have gone one stage further in that we've bought her bike. Paul's looking after her bike. We bring the bike into that. So, part of that is that Chloe is really, really talented. If you see her ride and in the wet, she's phenomenal. I was watching her at Snet, I think it was, which was like the last race of the day at Snet last year, and it was pissing. It had been dry, wet, but it's absolutely hammering down. And she'd had a bad qualifying, I think, and qualified something like 29th and finished 7th.
Wow,
I'm sure it was 7th, something like that. But she was just flying through, But again, that's that. You can either ride in the wet or not. I remember seeing Rossi here years ago when they had 1 year, and he was 4 seconds a lap quicker than everybody else because it was in a down point. You're like, how are you
doing that?
Yeah, that's not possible, But part of Chloe is that she's a talented rider. But there's another part of that is that I want to try and get more girls into the sport. It's obviously you guys are fit and you got to have an element of strength. But there's more balance riding a bike than there is strength, in tipping it over. You look at the different sizes, you've got from Hector, who's like 7 stone ringing wet, to Kyle, who's a lot bigger, and then you go to the likes of Hickman, who's even big, So Hickman's going to be a lot stronger than Hector,
But doesn't make him any faster.
Exactly.
But Hector's got the lap record around here. So.
Yeah. But one of the things, obviously, the first thing you've got to do with a bike is you've got to move the weight of the bike and the weight of the rider, you know. And we don't have a combined weight in superbike. So girls are traditionally average, and this is all that, they're smaller than men. As an average, your average woman is smaller than your average man. That's just a fact of life. So from a ruthless side, if I could get a female rider that's as good as a male rider, but she's 2 stone lighter, she's going to be fucking quicker. Because going down the straight, we ain't got to drag an extra 2 stone.
You got nothing to go beat.
You know what I mean? You know, you look at the, oh God. What's his name? Is it Lee Jackson? He's tiny, isn't he? No, it's not. Who am I thinking of?
Small.
On the Brit. On
TT boys. No, TT.
Oh, Lee Johnston.
Lee Johnston. He's tiny.
Here's a question. Right. I know he's...
The one I don't get is Russell Crowe. Phil Crowe.
Phil Crowe.
24 stone doing a 129 ran CT.
He's for not...
How can you do that when you're 24 stone?
He's down to 18.
I know he is now, but he did.
But at the time he was banging out 26s, 27s.
He did a 129 when he was 24 stone.
It's unreal.
Of course he did, didn't he?
20, and you're like, you double... You got a pillion on.
Mm-hmm. It is
so like that. But like last weekend, what's he wearing now?
Crowe.
Russell Crowe. Yeah,
I'll call him Maximus now. Maximus.
He's about 18 stone, I think. Now.
He's about 18 stone now, yeah.
And what's you know, if looking into the next few years, 5 years ahead, what's your vision with the whole Rich and OMG's team?
Because the momentum you're carrying at the moment is
it'd be nice to get some TTs under our belt for starters, because this is our second year of being a TT team without doing a TT. We're doing the Dakar next year with James Hillier. We did the Andalusian Rally last month.
And how did he get on with that?
3rd in class.
That's
which
mint.
is we've never done it. James has never done it. And in his class, the 2 guys that beat him were national champions for enduro riding. So, and you've got Hillier coming from the TT, which is, you know, it's one extreme to another. It's, you know, it's phenomenal achievement.
When you're talking about like skill and talent and stuff, like James Hillier is definitely one of those. I know he started off his career in British and stuff like that, but he's one of those. He just appears on the day at the TT, the Northwest. He won the Northwest last time we were out, and he just seems to be able to turn up and deliver on the day. And
I think he's talented.
No,
we could have one of those there.
Start fighting on it. Is he? Have you thought about bringing him into this? Does he want to?
He doesn't want to do it, I don't think.
Really?
Yeah, he doesn't like circuits. That's what he's told me.
Right.
We're only doing the Dakar because he did an interview at one point, and somebody asked him anything on his bucket list, and he said the Dakar. So it's like, but it's an energy drink race. The Dakar's an energy drink race. It's dominated by Monster and Red Bull and Tenzing and other, and it's so from Rich's point of view, it's the one race in the world that we absolutely have to do. Mm-hmm. We have to be involved in it because, like you said, when it was cigarettes, they all had to do Formula One.
They are political move. Yeah. They are. So, what about your other rider, Dave O'Donnell? Yes, he's trapped in Australia at the moment, but would he? The lad who keeps signing the checks to and sending them out.
The quiet lad.
The quiet. Oh, dead placid. I love how you pick your riders, because I'm not being funny. Not one of your riders is shit crack.
Okay.
In my opinion, you know what I mean? But the way I see it, obviously I've never met Hector and stuff like that, but the rest of the lads are really good, like really good fun. You're thinking,
they are.
That Rich Energy Club that you've got there, that generally sounds like a nightclub with all your riders, and your staff must be hellish.
The thing is, and I've said all along, you know, a happy rider's fast anyway. You know what I mean? If your mental state is correct and you're looked after and you're happy and you're having a laugh and you're having a crack, then you'll go out and perform. You know, somebody puts you under pressure. Some people will excel under pressure, others will buckle. Either way, it's a risk. You know, if you make them happy, they'll just go and do your job. You know, we've picked particular riders because we think they're good. Yes. You know, they've got form, they've got history, they've got whatever. We think they're good, and we can do. You know, let them do the fucking job.
So, like Davo, would he want to come do British if he wasn't trapped in Australia?
Davo wants to ride anywhere he can ride, I think, at the minute. I think he's gagging to give out on bike, you know. So we did a superbike race I covered the fees through Rich side of things in Australia, but he can't get out of the country at the moment with all this COVID stuff.
But
he'd ride anything. He's like you. He's just a fucking loon, you know. He just wants a bike, doesn't he? So, oh shit.
Because when you were talking, like we were saying, when you're stepping into the road side of things, you know, the Northwest, you've got 2 extremely fast riders. And the one event I have to discuss, Are you going to Macau this year? Because at the moment, it's looking like it's on, but I can't. With the way things are rolling and bloody COVID and all that. But at the moment,
I genuinely don't know. The problem that we've got is, so at the TT we were going to run 2 super bikes, 2 stock bikes, 2 super sport.
And what were you running there? R6s, weren't you?
R6s,
right?
So we were doing, because obviously BMW don't do a 600.
No.
So we can do it. So we're R6s for the super sport. Stock was the BMW, and superbike the BMW. To go and do Macau, we've got to build. We haven't built TT bikes for this year.
Yeah.
Because there's no TT. We're all roads bikes. And so it's a lot of commitment for that. And as it was looking last year, the way it was muted to us was, you've got to fly out to Macau, you've got to be quarantined in your hotel room, can't leave your hotel room for 2 weeks, then do a week of testing, then do quarantine when you come back. And you end up, and all the 6-7 weeks for one day, and a hell of a lot of expense for that one day, because you've got wages for the guys. I've got to pay the guys to sit in a hotel room for 2 weeks doing nothing, and they're away from the wife and the kids or whatever it is they've got. So it's a tough decision. So I don't know. At
the moment, let's talk like the fact that they had no in theory, they had no restrictions, nothing. Would be OMG Rich Energy be there if there was like
possibly? I genuinely don't know with the amount of stuff we got on at the moment. Purely because of when it falls, we're doing the Dakar side of things now, and
that's the back end.
That leaves in November. Mad as it sounds.
And the event's in January. Right, so they're a tight timetable.
It's not that the team leave, but a lot of the equipment leaves and things like that, and there's a lot of organisation going around it. The chunk of the team, some of them have got to go. They have to drive down to Marseille, you get on a boat to Saudi Arabia, and da-da-da. It's a mad event, and it's huge, It's like doing another TT. It's the same length of the TT, but you're racing for the whole 2 weeks, whereas the TT's half and half, practice and race. And it's got the similar sort of following. There's 40 million people are watching it and so forth. And then all the other add-ons to that everything. So it's as big as the TT, but a totally different discipline. Mm-hmm. So to do Macau in the middle of that, I don't know whether we would. I'd like to.
Yes.
I'd like to.
So what kind of watch this space type of thing?
Yeah.
Spot on.
So what now, before we let you go off home, because the sun is setting out there, but so what else is left on the bucket list? Because you very much strike me as a man that just thinks of something, takes it immediately.
We want to do more. There are aspirations to go to Worlds, but we wouldn't leave BSB.
Right. So, have you got a rider in Macquan? Talk to us.
Well, no, not at the minute. It all comes down to money. So,
of course it does,
as sales of Rich improve, we're nice that we have a sponsor that is going to support us in what we're looking to do. So, if we want to go and do Worlds, we'd have another team in Worlds, but it would be an additional team. It wouldn't be we're going to leave the BSB paddock and go to Worlds, because BSB is the best championship in the world. But for marketing for the brand, we need to go to a bigger audience, and that's Worlds.
Would you like to take a lad from the BSB up to Worlds?
I don't know, maybe a lumberjack from the TT.
I'm 100%. I can't guarantee results, but my God, I'm a trier. Son.
I don't know that there are. I mean, if you just go on a commercial look at things and you want to go to Worlds, there are, from Rich's point of view, because it would be Rich. It would be the primary driver there.
Yeah.
There are 3 ways that they can do it. You can either go and sponsor an existing team, you can buy an existing team, or you can start a new team, and so it all comes down to, in many ways, there's not a lot of difference in money. Mm-hmm. If there was a huge difference in money, there'd only be one way that people would go.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Everyone would start a fresh team and go there, yes, in theory.
Paul Curran, who's team principal for us now, would always be, he's top of the tree, so he would always be our team principal. And we'd then, whether it would then be, we have a new team principal, Paul oversees him, or Paul oversees 2 new team principals, and he, I don't know, but Paul's top of the tree, and he's not allowed to go anywhere. Because it's he's built the team with me, so it's only right that it wouldn't be the team that we've got without Paul.
Yes.
And I've also got to do that because she'll kill me otherwise. It wouldn't be the team that we are without Holly, which is Paul's partner. And Holly's done just about every job in the paddock and organises us. And which is why I think if we look good from the outside, it's because of what Holly's doing on the inside that we can do that. You know, because you know what we like. We turn up a circuit and you think, well, this is how it works. This is what you turn up. Your motorhome's there, the hospitality's there. I get fed. Fucking great. You know, but it's only because Holly's working her metaphorical balls off to do it. So
fair play. Well done, Holly. Well, cracking job.
Brilliant. Yeah.
No, it's brilliant to see.
Don't let us see this.
If you're watching, well, nice job.
It's brilliant, and it's very clear to see like how enthusiastic you are about the whole thing. That the fact that you like love having a race team, and without people like yourself and
I hate this bit.
No, there's a bit.
You know, I've done one interview ever before.
Well, we appreciate you for your time, but without people like yourself. This whole, you know, this people like yourself is how the whole sport ends up working, and giving lads like myself and like Dom opportunities to race and whatever.
Is he after a job?
No,
just checking.
Have you got a spare superbike? They are.
But I was going to say, obviously, you know, you've got a choice of like where you spend your money in terms of like for your enjoyment. If you had to sort of put it in like a short sentence, like why you choose to spend your money on running a bike team, what is it that you love so much about it?
How the fuck am I meant to answer that? I like bikes. What am I meant to do?
Well, obviously you like bikes, but like people like, you know, holidays, people like boats, people like jet skis, whatever. Like
some people go on holiday all year, and I mess about with bikes all year.
I just really hope he doesn't leave this interview thinking, you know what, Chris, he's onto something. Why am I actually doing all this? You know, like what is the actual point of doing it? You know, I could be into ostrich racing right now. Oh no, so Davo, James, Kyle, McConnell. Yep, you're sacked, mate. Yeah. Chrissy has shown me the light with his mathematical genius. Yeah, they are. Cheers, mate. You got rid of the biggest team. Congratulations. And one of the product sponsors.
Biggest BMW team in the world.
But it is.
There you are.
It is. It is interesting. I love, you know, get on this podcast. I know you haven't watched
5 riders.
You haven't watched or listened to any of the podcasts, but
oh no,
we've had.
I'm busy boy.
I really enjoy getting to know people, getting different angles in the sport. You know, team owners, riders, crew chiefs, etc. And it's, you know, you're like I said. There's a, you know, a handful of people like yourself that have putting a lot of money in.
Thank God lunacy is so limited.
I'm just over the moon you're fun sober. You know, I was really hoping this might have gone the other way for me. Like, you know, I was getting, because you want a few pints is brilliant.
I don't drink, Tom. I don't know what you're talking about. I've lost my teetotal for years.
Well, we're really looking forward. Today was the last test. Where did your two riders end up in Superbikes?
I think Kyle was around 7th or 8th.
In previous tests, he's been
but we've been doing race runs today, so he's been going out doing 25-30 laps on a tyre. So we just want consistent laps, because putting a single lap in is great for qualifying, but
it looks good on the sheet.
But it's vanity, you know. But the things that we've learnt from we were at Knock Hill last week, and then today is we've had new tyres this year. We've got the new X tyre, and it's taken till Knock Hill that we know where we're falling off the cliff with it, but you've got to do enough laps.
Yes,
you know. So Kyle did 70-odd laps, I think. Brad did 90 laps. Billy did 101 laps.
Is this on one tyre?
No, just doing laps. But I mean, I think on one tyre, I think Kyle did 50 laps on one tyre.
Wow, and that's on the X. This is softer than the zero job. Yeah.
So fair play. We're really soft and gentle. Our bike is really soft and gentle on the tyres, which is nice. But
you said that about your BMW last year. You said it was just really clean on the tyres, like so.
And it's a lot more critical in superbikes as well, with the choice of running the super soft or the soft.
I was about to say, because you lads run full motor, you'd think that would just obliterate the tyres. But
that was the worry. So that's why we've been doing.
All right.
Why we've been doing longer runs, because we need to know whether we can race with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's all well and good qualifying with the fucking thing, but if you can't race with it, what's...
And where did Brad end up?
I think Brad was about 15th, I think. He's getting quicker and quicker. He's just taking it a little bit easy at the moment. He had an operation on his wrist. All healed now. But we're doing everything meticulously with these doctors, and we do a lot of work with Loughborough University now with all our riders. Including Hillier for heat training and things like that for the desert. But we want to give them every opportunity. You know, there's no stone unturned to, you know. But you know yourself, if you got a niggling, if an injury's there and you don't let it heal correctly, it'll niggle you for years. Yeah. So we're telling him you can't push, because if you do, it's all well and good going out doing press ups and things like that. But you know yourself, so if you're putting, you know, you can be putting 2, 3, 4G through yourself under heavy braking. You can't do that with press ups.
No, you can't simulate that.
Unless you put 3 people on your back and start doing, you know,
Phil Crowe jumping on you.
You've got to heal. So, but he's getting quicker and quicker, and he'll be fine.
Brilliant.
He's fine.
And in terms of, we'll always give a chance for people to sort of plug merchandise and web, social media and stuff. What's the best way people can keep in contact?
Social. See, I don't do social media.
Should just say it's OMG Racing on Facebook.
It's Rich Energy is the main one, because OMG we don't make any money, and the more cans of Rich we can sell, the more money that we can go out and help other people with, because that's what we do with it.
And the best way to buy this product is through the website.
Yep. Through the website, through Amazon. You've got next day, Amazon Prime, you can deliver next day free of charge, that sort of stuff.
Right, fantastic.
And that's throughout the whole of Europe now. Yeah.
And in terms of, I know OMG have got loads of merchandise. Are you still selling that?
Yeah. I think the new website for the merch side of it goes on in the next week or so, I think, just before the season starts.
And is that just Rich Energy OMG or something?
OMGRacing.co.uk for the race team, richenergy.com for the drink, or richomg.com for the drink as well. There's loads of information on there. We try and give as much of information. So we try and be a bit more of a portal. So we'll give people details of the track and lap records, and especially here. No, didn't get that. But so that people get a bit of information about it, you know, and you can come onto our site and click through and be able to buy your tickets from BSB. We'll direct you straight to BSB. Obviously, we're not involved in it. We don't make any money, but you know, if somebody follows us, that you know, if we can get new people in, they might not know where to buy a ticket. So
yeah, I had a cool. I don't know who's responsible for it, but it was a really cool thing where you click through and it automatically puts all the BSB dates on your calendar on your iPhone, which was pretty. Yeah, that's clever. So whoever you've got employed for that, hats off to that.
Holly, I bet it's Holly again.
No, it's not. That was Alex, but Alex left us 2 weeks ago. He's dead to me. I'm sorry. What can I do? He did. He left 2 weeks ago. He shouldn't be allowed. But yeah, we did that. So hopefully we carry on doing that. I don't know. Technical shit.
The only way is up.
But yeah, we try and do things like that. If we can, you know, we try a bit more of a family and help people. If they want to know something, we'll tell them.
Fantastic.
Well, fantastic. I've got to say, I know you really didn't want to do this interview, I really appreciate you coming on. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Never talking to you. I've thoroughly enjoyed
Understandable. It. You were going to do that with me anyway.
But yeah, honestly, thanks so much, and
pleasure.
The very best of luck this year with all the race and exploits, and we'll catch up soon.
Cool.
Thanks, Alan.
Cheers, mate.
Take care, mate. See you.
Click, buy, deliver. With remote purchasing from the 2-time Motorcycle News Dealer of the Year, Colchester Kawasaki. Proud sponsors of Chasing the Racing.